In Fight, you talk a lot about Samson and the things that he dealt with, and probably men have since the beginning of time, of pride and lust and entitlement. So fast forward today, as men have to deal with those things, how do you see that play out? The lust, the entitlement, and the pride?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they play on in my life all the time. I have to deal with pride and, every single day dying to myself. And lust, I always tell people I was a man long before I was a pastor.
Absolutely.
It's just, it's an issue that most men deal with. And entitlement, I want what I want. And so I deal with that in my life. And I really think, the majority of men that I work with, those are the three big issues that end up getting them in trouble in relationships and lack of integrity and making bad decisions. And so once we recognize those are problems and we can call them what they are, then we can start letting God deal with them and find healing and wholeness.
Yeah, and I think because sometimes maybe guys are I don't know, it charges them up to get involved in those different things. Whether the lust or the temptation there and the temporary high that gets them or whatever in there. And it's just realizing that what a problem that is and what an issue that is.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, we have to acknowledge that. And I think as men, we often don't like to acknowledge our problems. And when we can actually name it, we can defeat it until we or say, hey, I have an issue with pride. I don't like to listen, or I don't receive feedback well, or I battle with lust. If we'll admit that, then we can start to allow God to work on it. But I like to say you're only as strong as you are honest. If you can't be honest, then you can't make progress.
Then you can begin to take the steps. So it's really, first step is really just admitting this is something that I've got an issue with, and to work on it from there.
Yeah, and counseling has helped me a lot, and I had to get over my pride in order to go get counseling, because as a man, I don't need someone else to help me. I'm not going to sit down and talk to somebody and just let them give me advice. And so, recognizing I do need help, that's where we need to start, and then we can see all sorts of progress.
Before we sat down and started the video, we were talking just a little bit about safeguards as far as the lust and things that we can do. And I know you're a champion of this, of saying, man, you got to lock down things, and whether it's your computer, your phone, your iPad, whatever it is. So that not saying how close can I get the fire without falling in, it's like just stay away from the fire.
Right. Yeah. Like on my mobile device and my iPads, I can't download apps. I don't have apps that can give me bad access. I don't have Safari. I lock the back door of Safari in adult content in case I could go through another app on an ad, and I have a filtered browser. And people say, do you really need all that all the time? And the answer is no, I really don't need it all the time, but there's some time that I might. And so my goal is not to manage temptation, but to eliminate it. And I kind of have a no tolerance policy. Any place where there's an open door in my life, if I have the ability to shut it and lock it, I'm going to shut it and lock it and give someone else the key, because I don't need it most days, but there are some days when I could be vulnerable and weak. And on that day, I don't want to have any access to anything that could hurt my relationship with God or hurt my marriage or hurt the ability to influence people.
We're all vulnerable. And I think we get in trouble anytime to think that we're not.
Right.
Because we are.
Yep.
We're human.
Yep.